Hello, my name is Natalia Olivier, and today I will talk about prevailing culture in the foreign language classrooms through speech ads of requests. The agenda will be divided into the problem, theoretical framework, methods, results, conclusions, and references. About the problem. And these words discuss the issues of speech ads in various conversational situations, taking into account the culture, particularly on the speech out of request used in the first language or the title language in the English foreign language classroom. In this case, it is important to mention that Venezuelan English language teacher in high school need to be aware that teaching culture will help their students to be successful in using the language. So in order to understand that speakers determine their intended meaning and respond appropriately to them, it is helpful to be aware of users' cultural and social conventions. This problem carry out to the following adapted. Identify the speech of request used to communicate in secondary EFL classroom. Categorize the speech out of request used in the first language and third language through the cultural interactions in secondary EFL teachers, and describe the categorized interactions observed in the first language and the target language in secondary EFL teachers. In relation to the theoretical framework, let's try first to understand what is language and its relation to culture. And according to Byron in 1991, cited in Wahanti and Gorsono, 2014, language is part of the culture of any community. It's the most representative element in any culture. The thoughts, feelings, values, and experiences of a community of speakers are reflected in the language. So language and culture are applied together, not separately, with each other supporting the growth of each other. Moreover, it is important to mention the theory of speech ads. According to Code 2002, point out that Searle defines speech ad as a speech ad situation where speakers perform various acts by their utterances, such as referring to someone, making a statement, asking questions, using commands, or giving reports. In addition, it is important to recognize Hyman's speaking model, which it was used during the study in order to take the most important aspects of the speech events during the conversational situations. This speaking model is divided into setting, participants, and at sequence, key, instrumentality, norms, and gerund. Moreover, it was used also the taxonomy of request of Troxberg, who include in this category the direct request, conventional indirect, header-based, conventional indirect, speaker-based, and indirect. About the method. The approach, this was a qualitative study, so it was developed based on the ethnography of communication field, and it was used the conversational analysis. And the participants were four secondary EFL teachers from Venezuela, specifically from Carúpano. The techniques and instruments used were the participant observation, where what is important due to the researcher becomes part of the community. Also, the researcher took notes and, and, and got audio recordings of these interactions. The procedure was the following. First, the observation, while the researcher was taking notes using Heinz speaking model. Later, the researcher made the transcription of the audio recordings and identified the request, categorized the request using the Tolber's taxonomy of requests that it was explained a few minutes later, and described the most common requests. The results. The results showed that most of the requests made by the teachers were in Spanish and using direct requests. These requests were related to repetition of vocabulary, making translation of sentences from English to Spanish or vice versa, or giving instruction. So, and the finding, for the conclusion, the findings show that the majority of EFL teachers tended to utilize direct and explicit requests in their first language more than the target language. Thus, the result revealed that there is a meaningful tendency to use speech as a request focused on Venezuelan culture than the target language culture. To these aspects, we need to add that if we need to compare the culture, that it could be inside the classroom if with American culture, due to the teacher show pronunciation patterns of American English. However, in a study made by Coach in 2002, claimed that Americans tend to use conventional indirects of requests in most situations. So, for these reasons, even some few moments the teacher used English requests in using in the target language, those requests reflected the Venezuelan culture. So we can conclude that the prevailing culture is the Venezuelan culture. Here we have the references, and thank you for all